Work for me. It's my first class in English, actually. I'm taking many, but I'm giving the first. So, thanks Diana and the guys for inviting me. Actually, we met another professor. But well, I'm here anyway. You know, in doctoral engineering we have many words, and normally we use the English words in class. So I don't think it's too difficult for you to recognize them. But anyway, we can make a review of some of the words for the logistics part. Sorry, I come in this part in the supply chain. You know, supply chain management. We call it sometimes supply chain or sometimes logistics. And there are some important words. For example, suppliers. I think we use normally that word, but maybe bulk delivery. That's maybe a new one. Is when you have very big. You transport the huge quantities or big amounts of things, and then you have the raw materials. Sometimes we use maybe in the classes raw materials also, and you continue with the chain. No? You transfer to the production system, and then you have work in progress. Also, we know that with WIP, but it's also called work in process. So you have the two terminologies, work in progress and a work in process. And we have inventory, it's the same, assembly, it's more or less the same. Finished goods, inventory, primary transport, distribution, customers, I think there is no difficult. The important thing is that when you look in the, for example, you are going to look for some bibliography, you should use normally the English words, because if you use Spanish words, you have fewer results than in English. So if you go to scholargoogle.com, you will have more to see if you put the words in English. So it's perfect that you do these kind of things for them. That's for this, and then that's my favorite part. You know, in classes we talk about lean manufacturing a lot. No, I'm not giving anymore the quality class, but then we talk about lean manufacturing in Spanish. It's more common in, even I use sometimes lean actually I'm giving the class in Spanish, but I use the word lean also. It's more common, no? And you know, Six Sigma, just in time sometimes is inside lean, but you can look for that in separate way, and total quality management. Normally we say TQM, that's a funny thing in Spanish, no quiero mucho, but it's not te quiero mucho, it's TQM, total quality management. And if you put that, just these three letters in Google, you have a lot of things. But don't use Google, just Google. You have to use scholargoogle.com. Have you checked that? Scholargoogle.com, I don't know if I can write it down. This is Scholar. That's the real information. The other one is just commercial things and courses and things like that. But you use Scholar Google, and there is a lot of free information. You don't need to pay for that article. There's a lot of free information that you can download. That's for this improvement initiative. The most thing, we now have Lean Six Sigma, the two together, and you have, for Six Sigma, you have the methodology DMAIC. Define, measure, analyze, improve, and control. Anyway, we use the same first lettering in Spanish, but it's in English, all the methodology. And what else do we have here? Yeah, and then we have the seven wastes. Normally, even in seven wastes are normally used the word in Japanese, not in English. Sometimes it appears more information if you put NUDA in Japanese than in English, okay? then we have also a 5S technique for reducing what? What for? Okay, I'm testing now your knowledge.
Waste.
Improve the productivity.
Sorry?
Improve the productivity.
Okay, fine. Improve the productivity. Where else?
Reduce the waste.
Reduce waste. Perfect. Exactly. It's important that you remember the 5 A's is not just for cleaning and making nice the work space. It's for improving productivity and exactly for reducing waste. And in that way,
Economical methodology.
exactly. So we have that here is fine because it's the 5S, the 5 words starts with S, like the original Japanese words. In Spanish we don't have that, so the people say 5S. S for what? Because in Spanish we don't have the words that coincidentally, right? Our teacher. Coincidentally, it's the same in Spanish that it's not the same in Spanish because in Spanish the words start with another word. Yeah. So here in English we have 5S and the words sort, set in order, shine, standardize, and sustain.
In Spanish are called 5C.
Yes, that's true. Some people call it 5C sometimes. And then we have, the next word is reducing waste and for improving productivity. Okay? Any questions? Fine. Fine. And then we have quality tools. That's very nice also because we have the 7 basic quality tools. We have the cause effect diagram. This is very useful. You have to, I think my favorite two, I don't know, here we have the Pareto chart and the cause effect diagram. That's why my favorite because you can use it always, wherever you want, in each problem you have. If the methodology is more sophisticated, like Six Sigma, where you have some statistics more complicated, you can even use these two that are very simple. And you know that I'm teaching these in classes, they are very useful for solving problems, for finding the root cause or the solution for the problems. You know? And you have the checklist that's very easy. You have like a form where you can write down some things or register some special things. You have the control charts. I think you know, and you have a lot of that in quality control course. And the histogram is a very basic thing. Even here we have the upper level and lower level for the capability analysis. And we have also the scatter diagram. Maybe scatter is a difficult, or not difficult, but different word. Because Pareto chart, Pareto, you will remember. But scatter maybe it's another word strange, but just remember the points when you make a graph, and that's a scatter diagram. That's very useful also. Then I think that's it for the chart.
The check sheet
The check sheet
is
is this one. It's a piece of sheet, a table, where you put a form, like a form where you check or where you register something. For example, how many of finished products, how many finished products have this quality problem or those quality problem, and you register there. It's a form that you have to fill it. You cannot fill it. No, it's not the Gantt chart. It's a form where you have to register things that happen in the production plan. And then you can use this information to make a histogram or a Pareto diagram. You can use that information. But the Gantt chart, you draw, you compare with the time. Yeah. In the upper part, you have the time.
It's applied to control projects.
Yes. To control projects, to control activities.
The scatter diagram is just like a dispersion chart or something like that?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes, it's like a dispersion. I don't know if the dispersion is correct word.
Yeah.
Alright. Production planning priorities for scholar curve, you can put sequencing rules. And sequencing rules are all of these. Yeah, for example, first in and first out is a sequencing rule. If you put that word, like a keyword for any searcher machine, you can find all of this. No? And that's for planning of the production planning. You have first in, first out, last in, first out, shortest processing time, earliest due date first. It depends on the decision that the plan take to choose one of these priority rules. You know? And here we can use the bottleneck, as we talked already about the bottlenecks. I prefer that, the bottleneck thing. So longest processing time could be, but for the bottleneck, remember that you have to consider the processing time and the utilization. Yeah, when it's a mixture and then everything gets complex when we explain that in the classes.